In the early 1820s, the American frontier was a vast, unforgiving wilderness, a place where only the hardiest individuals dared to tread. It was a land of towering mountains, dense forests, and endless plains teeming with danger, from hostile Native American tribes to wild animals and treacherous weather. Among those who ventured into this perilous world was Hugh Glass, a fur trapper whose story would become one of the most astonishing tales of survival in American history. Born in Pennsylvania around 1783, Hugh Glass's early life is shrouded in mystery. What little is known suggests he was of Scots-Irish descent and grew up with a strong connection to nature. Like many men of his time, he sought opportunity in the untamed wilderness, where the fur trade was booming. By the 1820s, Glass had become a seasoned frontiersman, familiar with the perils of the frontier and skilled at navigating its challenges. Some stories claim that Glass spent time as a sailor and even survived being captured by pirates, escaping by swimming to the Texas coast. Others say he lived among the Pawnee, adopting their ways and learning their survival skills. Whether these accounts are true or embellished, they paint a picture of a man uniquely suited to face the trials of the wild. In 1823, Glass joined a fur trading expedition organized by General William Henry Ashley. Known as Ashley's Hundred, this group of trappers and hunters set out to exploit the rich fur resources along the Missouri River. It was a dangerous venture as the expedition faced not only the natural hazards of the wilderness, but also conflict with Native American tribes defending their land. In the summer of 1823, while scouting near the Grand River in present-day South Dakota, Glass encountered one of the wilderness's most fearsome predators, a grizzly bear and her two cubs. The massive animal charged before Glass could react. Armed only with a flintlock rifle, a knife, and his fists, Glass fought for his life. The bear mauled him mercilessly, slashing his back, arms, and legs, breaking his ribs and nearly scalping him. With incredible determination, Glass managed to kill the bear, possibly with his knife or by firing his rifle at point-blank range. When the ordeal ended, the grizzly lay dead, but Glass was gravely injured, his body broken and bleeding. When the rest of the expedition found Glass, they were horrified by the extent of his injuries. His back was shredded to the bone, his throat was punctured, and his leg was mangled. Convinced he would not survive, the group decided to move on. They could not afford to linger in hostile territory, as the Arikara tribe was known to be nearby. Ashley offered extra pay to two men, John Fitzgerald and a young Jim Bridger, to stay behind with Glass and ensure he received a proper burial after he died. The pair agreed and remained with Glass for a few days, but as the days passed and Glass clung to life, Fitzgerald and Bridger grew impatient and fearful of an Arikara attack. They abandoned Glass, taking his rifle, knife, and supplies with them. To ease their guilt, they later lied to the rest of the group, claiming Glass had died and that they had buried him. Hugh Glass awoke to find himself alone in the wilderness, abandoned and near death. He was unarmed, had no food or water, and was miles from the nearest settlement. His injuries were severe, his wounds were infected, his leg was useless, and his body was weak from blood loss. Yet despite the overwhelming odds, Glass refused to die. Driven by sheer willpower and a burning desire for revenge against the men who had left him, Glass began a journey that would defy belief. Unable to walk, he crawled. Using his arms to drag his broken body, he moved inch by agonizing inch across the rugged terrain. His destination was Fort Kiowa, a trading post roughly 200 miles away. Glass's survival depended on his resourcefulness and knowledge of the wilderness. He scavenged what he could, eating berries, roots, and even carcasses left behind by predators. At one point, he fended off wolves to claim a freshly killed bison calf. To prevent gangrene from spreading, Glass allowed maggots to eat the rotting flesh from his wounds, a gruesome but life-saving act. Despite the physical torment, Glass endured. He followed the Grand River, using it as a guide to reach the Missouri River and ultimately Fort Kiowa. After 6 weeks of crawling, limping, and surviving on sheer determination, Glass finally arrived at Fort Kiowa. Starved, mutilated, and barely alive, he was nursed back to health by the traders at the fort. While most people would have been satisfied simply to survive, Glass had another goal: revenge. He set out to track down John Fitzgerald and Jim Bridger, the men who had left him to die. Glass eventually found Jim Bridger, who was still a teenager at the time of the incident. Bridger pleaded for forgiveness, and Glass, perhaps recognizing the boy's youth and inexperience, let him go. Fitzgerald, however, was a different matter. Glass tracked Fitzgerald to a U.S. Army fort, where he discovered that Fitzgerald had joined the military. Because harming a soldier would bring severe consequences, Glass reluctantly abandoned his plans for vengeance. He reclaimed his stolen rifle but spared Fitzgerald's life. After his ordeal, Glass returned to the wilderness, resuming his life as a trapper and frontiersman. He continued to face danger until his death in 1833, reportedly killed by Arikara warriors during a trading expedition. The story of Hugh Glass became legend, immortalized in frontier folklore, books, and films, most famously in The Revenant, 2015. While some details have been embellished over time, the essence of Glass's journey, his resilience, resourcefulness, and refusal to die, remains an enduring testament to the strength of the human spirit. Hugh Glass's incredible tale reminds us that even in the face of unimaginable adversity, survival is possible through sheer determination and the will to live. We hope you enjoy the story. Help us grow by giving it a thumbs up and hit subscribe.